Go. So again, welcome everybody. I'm glad everybody can join us today. This is a presentation on school bus webinar, and we've got a number of speakers. Basically, Brad Beauchamp will be with us from Bluebird, talking both about electric and propane school buses. We'll have Claire Alford from Highland Fleets that will talk about what they do. Hannah Moyer from Duquesne Light, which is our local utility, on some projects that they're doing with schools. Barry Bryan from Bradford School Districts, a little bit about what they've been doing with the propane school buses. Robert Friedman from Ingevity about their dual fuel. And then Don Shones, our local utility for a propane dealer here, and one of our board members. So again, welcome to everybody here today. Thank you again for those who agreed to participate in this here. This will be recorded, and we will have the slides and our video on our website shortly. So I'm going to have to stop this real quick because this thing locks up, and then I have to start back and bring it back again for some reason all the time. Let's see here. Here, let's try this again. A long time when we start this. Maybe it's the recording. I don't know. There we go. So again, a little bit about Clean Cities. We're one of over 75 coalitions throughout the U.S. Clean Cities and Communities. As you can see, this is our map as of December of last year. And we have a number of apprentice organizations. A couple of these now have become full-fledged coalitions, and eventually our goal from Clean Cities is to have the whole U.S. covered. But as you can see, we have the majority of the East covered as well. This is just a quick map of Pennsylvania. As you can see, the red line divides the two coalitions that are in Pennsylvania, our coalition and our sister organization, Eastern Pennsylvania Alliance for Clean Transportation, where my counterpart, Tony Bandera, is the executive director, and we do work closely with them coming through. Again, our mission, again, advances the nation, environment, energy security, and economic prosperity. Again, the collaboration of communities and building partnerships, and that's where we're really good. We're more of an education organization. Again, we have a lot of our things with our technical assistance. We build partnerships. We work with local entities on local projects, and we collaborate with corporate funding and try to help as well. How can we help you? Well, again, we can connect you with opportunities again for funding opportunities and a coalition. We navigate this stuff. We have many different stakeholders and members that we work with throughout all of the 33 counties in Western PA. Again, these are some of the tools that we have that are out on the alternative fuel data center, and there's all the tools that'll help you guide you through whatever technology you choose or whatever vehicle you may want information on, but please use us as a resource. Again, we can look at a fleet and talk about life cycles where we can show you the benefits of using particular alternative fuels or one alternative fuel with another, just the different types of both economical and environmental savings. And again, you can see pictures of all the different technologies that we are. We're fuel agnostic, technology agnostic. We're not all one fuel because not all one size fits all. And again, we can help again with the electric school bus, propane school bus, or any of those other ones. They're gone. We have some new resources out on the website as well. I'm just trying, that was a quick and dirty about Clean Cities. And today I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Brad Beauchamp from Bluebird Bus. And Brad, you are up.
Thanks, Rick. Hello, everybody. Rick and I have known each other more than 2 decades now. And while Rick has had a lot longer tenure with DOE, I had a short term at NETL as well. I am now alternative fuels at Bluebird. Current title is actually EV product segment leader. So let's roll forward, Rick, and talk a little bit about alternative fuels. So in the case of Bluebird, we kind of turned that alternative fuels into alternative power. We have propane, as was mentioned. We do gasoline, believe it or not, and we actually call that an alternative fuel because 95% of all the school buses are powered by diesel today. There's about 480,000, actually 400, more than 480,000 school buses in the U.S. And again, 95% are powered by diesel. So we're moving away from that. We kind of term it alt power because then we have electricity. So the EV bus, which has been 7 going on 8 years. And then I will mention CNG, 1991 all the way through last year. Last year, we kind of built some of the final factory CNG. We didn't get a lot of requests. There's a lot of reasons why, but CNG is certainly important as well. So over 36,000 buses produced with alternative powers like CNG, propane, and electricity throughout the U.S. So kind of how it breaks out over the course here, starting back in 2012, alternative fuels was a whopping 9%. And as you can see, as we rolled through last year, it's a majority of our sales. So a minority is now diesel. And you can see how that's kind of happened over the course. And again, that's with all the technologies. As DOE is fuel agnostic, we are as well at Bluebird, something to offer, which makes us a little bit different from our competitors. Talking through the electric school bus, which has gotten a lot of attention with the EPA funding that was out there for clean school bus, but also a lot of the state funding that's out there as well. Again, we're 7 going on 8 years, so roll me forward. And believe it or not, we did our first EV school bus in conjunction with Westinghouse back in 1994, right? So longer than Rick and I have known each other, this stuff has been going on. Going into year 8. And there's over 2,500 of these out there. 2,000 of those 2,500 in the US, and primarily the other market we cover is Canada. So there's a few that have gone other places, but for the most part, the US and Canada for EV school bus. These buses are V2G capable. We are in 41 states and 4 of the Canadian provinces. We are running routes that are urban, suburban, and rural. And right now we're a little over 40% of the 6 EV school bus players in what are called the Type C and Type D market, which is Type C is the conventional school bus, the one that has the hood on the front, and Type D is the transit style. Believe it or not, for Type C and Type D nationally for all fuel types, Type D is about 18 to 20%. The rest is Type C. In interesting side, EV side, it's about 50-50. About 50% of EV sales are Type D buses, and the other flavor and how the style, the type of bus plays out. The thing we concentrate on is that the body's the same. So the seating, the customer's expectations and configurations makes it simple for them to spec, whether it's a special needs bus or a regular route bus. Driver orientation also is simplified because the gauges might be a little different. Warning lights might be a little different, similar to how a diesel bus is different from a propane bus. But we help the drivers understand and be familiar with the differences and make it simple for them, helping them to understand charging and using the bus, providing that initial confidence. And as you know, obviously the EV bus as well as the propane bus provide improved air quality. In both cases, they're lower noise. The EV is very quiet, reduced maintenance, and a better overall driver experience. And funding, as you know, of recent has been very readily available. Obviously, different landscape now, but at the same time, we're still flowing round 1, round 2, clean heavy duty. Round 3 is the one that we're still kind of waiting for an answer on, but round 2 and clean heavy duty of still flowing funding. Lots of state funding available as well as utility funding. All right, roll to the next one. The charging time is typically, because school buses have long dwell time, somewhere in the 3 to 8 hour time frame. Our typical bus is using 11.5 to 19.2 AC charging, or that lower level DC fast charge, surrounding around the 30 kilowatt DC fast charge range. This gives the bus, in this case, we're looking at a Canadian representation, but about 100 miles of range, right? 100 miles of range. And the batteries range from 155 total kilowatt to 196. And that gives you, again, and allows you then for a solid route bus, it covers 80% of all route needs. Most route buses only go 60 to 80 miles a day. We cover the full gamut of passengers on the conventional Type C, 77 all the way up to 84 on the Type D bus. And they do have the same gross vehicle weight rating that you would expect from a gasoline, a diesel, or a propane bus. Our partner on the school bus is Cummins, so it's a very familiar powertrain for EV. And we use the Dana Sumo motor that's tuned to the 350 horsepower that you'd expect, similar to a diesel or gasoline bus. It has more torque, but that's just because we don't use a transmission, right? It's a single speed driving through the conventional, very familiar 529 Dana axle. So charging strategies, obviously good is regular single phase 240 volt AC charging, ranging from 10 to 19.2 kilowatt is typical. And if you're only in the case of 1 to 5 buses, that'll get you through, right? Once you get above 5 buses, you may want to add what's better, DC fast charge capabilities. So if you have 6, 7, 8, 10 buses, you're going to want to add a DC fast charge for about every 5 buses, just for those times when you need to have faster charging or need to recover from a situation where something happens in the charging arena. If you can afford DC fast charge, certainly that's a better option. It allows you then to skirt around demand charges from the utility. You can enhance the amount of preconditioning, either warming the bus up or chilling the bus if it's a hot climate. And again, if you have 5 or 6 or more buses, you should always at least have some DC fast charge. Your best is doing a whole yard for EV charging, but unfortunately, that's not always commonly possible because it does take a lot of resources and capital to be able to do that. Considering other items on the bus beyond propelling it down the road, you got e-heaters, cabin heaters, so the battery needs to be heated, the interior to keep the windows defogged and de-iced. You'll have a chiller that often keeps the battery cool if it needs to. You may have an AC compressor that's actually chilling the bus down, a power steering pump. Those things are going to draw beyond propulsion. So you have to consider them when you're charging as well. When you're preconditioning, some of those items may actually be able to be done like the bus warmed up and the battery warmed up while it's hooked up to the charger. The buses do have regenerative braking, so they recapture energy. Obviously, driver habits and regeneration allow you to operate the bus in a much easier manner than a traditional ICE bus. Terrain, temperature, city versus urban, all those are definitely things that you have to consider on the EV bus to work around as it relates to charging and range. We do offer, and I know Highland's on here as well with similar, but Clean Bus Solutions, which is out there. That's a full wraparound for those that want to do either electric or propane deployments and don't want the huge capital investment for infrastructure and buses. They can then go through designing, budgeting, all in an operational expense manner. And so we have that available to help you adopt either electric or propane buses. On the propane side, our partner is Roush. We still have the exclusive with Roush and through 2030 right now. That is in propane form and gasoline form, and they're both using the Ford 7.3 liter gas engine and propane engine or gaseous fuel prep engine that's available out there in the marketplace. Rolling forward.
Sorry about that.
Yep, no problem. And whether it's electric or the Roush product, we have plenty of not only Bluebird dealers like Bluebird of Pittsburgh, that's local in the area that we're all from and talking through here today, but we have service centers throughout the U.S. and Canada to service the EV, the propane, and the gasoline product to make it convenient for adopters. 41% of the largest 100 school districts have put propane in their fleet. So looking at that, that's pretty significant for larger fleets. And 32% of the largest 100 operate Bluebird on the propane side. So 41% have a Ford engine either powered by propane or gasoline, and 32% are definitely propane adopters. So of the 100 top largest school districts, it's a pretty good showing that a third are using propane, and a little bit more than that are using a Ford 7.3 liter engine. So engine itself obviously is available in all the different applications on the Type C currently. So it's Altoona tested as well if you're somebody that's using it in a, I'll call it a FDA funded or transit application. And fuel tank capacities vary for propane from the short wheelbase version of 47 usable gallons all the way up to an extended range, which you could use for trips of 93 usable gallons that give you 350 to 400 miles of range on propane. EPA and CARB approved. As a matter of fact, this meets the low NOx standards that are coming, right? So propane can actually meet those low NOx standards without all the after treatment equipment that a diesel has with DEF systems and regen cycles and all the additional exhaust maintenance that's required. Why propane? It's also been a very stable, it's the most price stable fuel over the last 55 years. So it's clean, non-toxic. It's not an environmental hazard if it happens to leak or spill. Certainly it's more of a fire marshal sign off than it is an environmental sign off. And again, we're a net exporter. So that allows the price globally as well as in the US to be very stable. And it's much lower operating cost on fuel than what gasoline is, and in some cases even less than a kilowatt of electricity. So great fuel for all those reasons. And again, while we offer pure electric and we offer gasoline, if you're looking for something that kind of checks all the boxes, energy independence, duty cycle simplicity, the economics, right? You can be able to actually buy the bus, and the environmentals, propane kind of sits smack in the middle. And that's why we continue with our partners at Roush to offer that to school districts. Right. Pull me forward.
Not sure why that's not go moving forward here.
And there you have it, right? Electric and propane are definitely good solutions as it relates to school bus operation. So thank you, Rick. Thank you all for listening.
We'll try that again. Okay.
I think, Rick, we can move on. I think we're good.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so next we have Claire Alford from Highland Fleets. As soon as I'm able to get your slides up.
Thank you.
Don't know why it's locking up on me here. Okay, let me try this again here. Okay.
Happy to share my screen, Rick, if that's helpful to see
Yeah,
you.
I'm just trying to get this up here and let me see if I can do that here and get you to be the host here. It's under security, I think. Sorry about this. Okay, you're the host.
All right. Give me one second. All right. Can you see my screen? Yes, okay, awesome. Hi everyone, Claire Alford. I'm the Eastern Regional Manager on the Market Development team at Highland Electric Fleets. I'm going to speed through these slides, but my cell phone number and my email will be on the final slide, so feel free to reach out if you have any questions. So a little about Highland. We are a fleet electrification as a service provider. So first and foremost, we do not manufacture any buses, but we work with all the major manufacturers. With Bluebird, so with Brad and his team, with Thomas, with IC, kind of all the yellow school buses you see on the road today, and then also with some manufacturers that just manufacture electrics. And where we come in is that we provide kind of all of the services and all of the fun things that go along with electrifying your fleet, which, as you can imagine, looks pretty different from, normal diesel school bus operations. So a little bit about Highland. We were founded in 2019, so still a relatively new company, but we're now active in 30 states and also Canada. We've secured over $500 million in grants and incentives, and I'll get into what that means in my next slide. We have currently the largest electric school bus project in North America, and we've got a little over 900 buses under contract right now. And this slide will show you the map of where those are. It's a little bit of a chaotic slide, but it's just meant to show how far spread we are. You'll see there that we've got, we're helping Unionville Chadds Ford in Pennsylvania with some of their electrics that they're deploying. And we're also under contract with Bethlehem School District and Erie City School District. We're also having conversations with Baldwin Whitehall and a couple of other Pennsylvania districts. Also, as you can imagine, this is a little bit of a chaotic time as far as federal school bus funding goes, and so we're really just trying to help our school districts that we're working with figure out how to move forward with the projects that they are wanting to do. But you can see, in addition to the Pennsylvania schools, we're all the way out west, California. These represent around 3.5 million electric miles driven, which I think is really cool, and over 130 school districts as our partners. So our offering, and I'll get into a little bit more about all the steps that are involved in kind of how we work with the school district. But essentially we try to offer our services, so our contract price at a price that is kind of cost competitive, either neutral with what schools are paying for their diesel fleet operations right now, or offer cost savings. So the way that we do that is by stacking a bunch of different value streams. And this is meant to, again, bring that cost down, where, when schools do it on their own, it's really hard because electric school buses are so much more expensive than some of the traditionally fueled buses. So when we work with a school district, we kind of use our capital, and we ensure that schools can kind of recognize cost savings in year 1 of a contract versus having to wait until year 8 or year 9. And some of the ways that we can offer that at such a good price are by applying for grants or incentives, like I mentioned. So we help school districts apply or apply on behalf of it. Kind of depends on the fine writing of the grant or incentive, but that's a really major piece of what we do, and we kind of provide grant and incentive, writing and applying capacity on the Highland team, because some schools just don't have that built out internally. We also capitalize on the scale and the contract terms. So longer contract terms are typically what we aim for. We can spread the cost out over a longer period of time, and scale. And that's really just looking at a existing fleet with the school district and figuring out what they're comfortable with, what their goals are, and what makes the most sense as far as how many electrics they want to transition to. We also take advantage of tax credits, depreciation. These are things that we can help schools take advantage of, and also because we're a private company, we can take advantage of V2G or vehicle to grid. I'm sure Hannah might touch on this a little bit, but if we're in a utility service territory where there's a V2G program or any other kind of, rate program or whatever it may be that could offer cost savings, we help a school district kind of navigate the ins and outs of those. And then maintenance and fuel savings. Electricity is a pretty stable source of fuel. It's not a commodity. And so that offers savings and maintenance. I think there's like 97% less moving parts in an electric school bus than a traditional bus. So these are all the ways that we get to that price. So what are we actually offering for that price? What you see laid out here is kind of our bread and butter offering. We also, as we've grown, have kind of separated it out and can do charging or different pieces of it. But this right here is what we offer most commonly. So again, designing and implementing the project. So that involves a lot of planning up front about routes, about their depot, all of the above. Again, we apply for grants and we create the budget that encompasses all of the aspects of the electric fleet and will be something that's appealing to the school district. We help the district get the buses that they want. So most school districts have a preferred dealer or preferred manufacturer that they like to go with, so we don't shake things up. We go with what they want, and we get the infrastructure installed and working with the local utility on that. We also train their school bus drivers, their maintenance workers, so we're not displacing any jobs. And you get the added bonus of having the Highland maintenance team in addition to your own, but we really want to make sure that these schools can operate these buses on their own and feel confident on a day-to-day operation standpoint. So the last two are charging and maintenance. So once we get the buses up and running and everyone trained, the two big things are charging. So making sure that we have the buses charged when they need to be charged, and making sure that we're being a responsible user of the grid, charging at times that are good and not bad. And school buses really have the ideal kind of use case for charging. They typically charge at off-peak hours, so when electricity rates are the lowest, just because they tend to be at the school bus depot in the middle of the day. So we help with that. Again, that's one of the kind of the newer parts of navigating electrics versus traditionally fueled buses. And so we found that to be really helpful. And then we help with the maintenance. Like I said, we train their maintenance workers so they can do the day-to-day, but we're always there to help. So with that, I know that was a lot of information at once, but really was trying to get through these. This is my cell phone number and my email address. Always happy to talk about Highland and our offerings, but also just happy to talk about electric school bus technology in general. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Well, I will now turn it over to one of our local utility, Hannah Moyer from Duquesne Light, to tell us a little bit about what they do with electric school buses.
Great. Thanks, Rick, and thanks for having us on today. Like Rick said, I'm Hannah Moyer. I'm a project developer at Duquesne Light Company, the utility that serves the majority of Allegheny and Beaver counties. And I sit on our electrification solutions team, so doing a lot of cool things in this space. One of the programs that we offer is our community and fleet charging program. So through this program, Duquesne Light is essentially working with commercial customers to install electrical infrastructure to support charging stations. So on a school bus application, this could look like identifying an existing transformer on site, or in many cases, there might be a new service that is required, figuring out where the transformer will be located. And then our program covers the cost to install a meter, a new panel, all the conduit and wiring, up to where the charging stations plug in. So it can have significant cost savings, project cost savings for customers by just supplying that, not only project management, the materials, the labor, we do all the construction and permitting for that as well. So we've supported programs that are public, workplace, but we also have our fleet component. And we've done a couple school bus projects now that are really exciting. One that is just getting off the ground now. We've worked with Student Transportation of America to do a project for Pine Richland School District, or for buses that serve that district. And we just completed a large project with First Student, and those buses serve the Pittsburgh Public School District. So really excited to see those projects off the ground and have a couple more school bus projects in the works. And we also help, as you know, many of us on the phone, we help with identifying those additional incentives. We've got a lot of great resources on the call here to help you find funding and apply for it, and working with different partners to maximize those funding sources to help lower those project costs. A great way to get, started if you're interested in learning more about our incentive program. I'll throw my information in the chat for everyone, and how you can get in contact with us. But really, we do some site assessments. We have an application process, and then really working with you the whole way to design and install that infrastructure so it meets your needs. We also have folks that help on the distribution side, so figuring out what kind of electrical service upgrades you might need to the site, and things of that nature. So I wanted to keep it short and sweet. That is just kind of the overview of our program. I'd love to, talk with anyone who's interested in participating or learning more, or has just general questions about working with the utility. Maybe you don't need the infrastructure program and just have questions on getting service. I can help you get that information as well. So I'll put my information in the chat and turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. So what we've done now is we have Barry Bryan from Bradford School District, who is one of the longtime users of Bluebird propane school buses, to tell us a little bit about what his journey has been with his school district. Barry?
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for inviting me on today. Yeah, so I've been running school buses since the early 80s, and have my own company for about 15 years, and then worked as a district manager in Michigan for, at the time, Laidlaw. And I've been here with this school district for about 17 years as just a contract manager, contract management policy. But anyhow, we started running the propane buses in 2014, and then gradually built our fleet up. And we're currently running 18 units. All our regular routes are propane. We average about 100 miles a day here, between 80 to 100 miles a day. We've got some of our units have over 180,000 miles on them, so we've really put them to the test. Our environment's harsh. Obviously, we're kind of in the snow belt that Buffalo's in. We have a lot of hills to go up and down. So we have really tested these units. Right now, propane's at about $2 a gallon, whereas diesel's at about $4.40. We're averaging about 4.2 miles per gallon with the propane buses. So we're seeing a savings every day just on propane versus the diesel cost. As far as maintenance, we don't see some of the issues that we had with diesel as far as the emissions systems in diesels that need maintained and replaced. Occasionally we have some issues with the fuel pumps and the propane, but that's gotten increasingly better sort of year by year. And this year in particular, we saw a large decrease in the number of issues with the fuel pumps. The drivers are happy with them. I mean, they're basically a gasoline engine, so they run just like my old gasoline motors would, plenty of power. They're quiet, obviously, almost zero emissions. So, our parents are happy. The students are in a lot better environment. But overall, it's been a really good experience. And with my background in running buses for so many years, I'm surprised that more contractors don't take advantage of this, because it's savings every single day that's directly in the school district's pockets. really can't say any downside from it. It's just been a really good experience. We've been able to use a local propane gas supplier, so some of the money stays in our community. But yeah, we've been really happy with this, and we're obviously going to continue the program. We're into it full blown now. So, but yeah, been a great experience.
Thank you, Barry. And could you tell me how many total school buses you have in your fleet?
So we have 25 school buses in the fleet. So we have some diesels we use for spares. Some of those are mini buses, but all our route buses are propane.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your information there. I think it's valuable to other folks who look at that because again, not only is it environmentally safe, but it's also economically viable as well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, so our next speaker is Robert Friedman from Ingevity, and he's going to talk a little bit about his Demi Null Fuel, which is a dual fuel conversion for school buses. Robert?
Thanks, Rick, and thanks everybody for being here and for giving me the time to talk about what we do. A quick little bit about Ingevity. We're a publicly traded company, about $1.5 billion in market cap. Our 40-year history as a company, as both a private company and public company, has to do with activated carbon. Our activated carbon is integrated into the fuel system of the majority, if not all, gasoline vehicles on the road in the U.S. today, and it keeps the gasoline vapors from escaping the vehicle fuel system and therefore reduces emissions into the atmosphere. Next page, Rick. Our program, which we refer to in two ways. One, technically, it's a Demi New Fuel school bus platform, but we also call it the CalFart bus as it relates to the use of renewable natural gas as a way of breaking through the noise of different alternative fuels and vehicles in the school bus segment, but also sort of as a tongue-in-cheek schoolhouse rock type of reference for an educational purpose. We are converting or providing for the conversion of existing diesel school buses to run on a blend of renewable natural gas and diesel. And so where this fits in, it provides fleets and school districts, school bus operators, the opportunity to look at a portfolio of solutions, really adds to the tools in the toolbox. You want to try propane, you want to try electric. Those are with your new school bus purchases. But what do you do with your existing in-service diesel school buses? And this is a solution for those vehicles that's very cost effective, has favorable economics with the use of low-cost natural gas and a small refueling appliance, and leveraging the use of ultra-clean renewable natural gas without any compromise to the vehicle or the fleet logistics. Next, Rick. The same way that activated carbon attracts the hydrocarbon of gasoline vapors, when we put activated carbon into the middle of a natural gas fuel tank, it attracts the natural gas molecules away from the inner walls to the center of the tank, and therefore transforming the pressure of the tank from 3,600 psi to 900 psi, or from high pressure traditional compressed natural gas to low pressure, what we call adsorbed natural gas. And why is pressure and low pressure so important? It enables the use of a small fueling appliance. And you can see the fueling appliance there at the bottom right of the screen. That appliance at 3,600, way too much stress being put through the system. And therefore, there's customer satisfaction issues that arise. When you're at 900 PSI, it becomes seamless. It's a 2x2 appliance, which fuels two vehicles. And that appliance on a per vehicle basis is $2,500. And therefore, the low pressure technology that we apply here unlocks the use of low cost natural gas and unlocks the use of renewable natural gas. These appliances are installed on site, kind of similar to a charging station for a vehicle, and it fuels the vehicles overnight. The vehicles have both a natural gas or renewable natural gas tank in the undercarriage, as well as the conventional diesel engine. And when the natural gas, or if the natural gas tank runs out of fuel or is fully depleted, it automatically transitions to using diesel 100%. Next one, Rick, please. The cost is it's a low cost conversion, $12,500 per bus. That includes parts and labor, and $2,500 for the refueling appliance. That works out to be about a savings of about $3,000 a year for the bus, and over a 10 to 20 year life of the system. The school bus operator should experience somewhere in an 18% plus internal rate of return. That's after a 4.5-year payback. While our system will last 20 years, many buses that they're on may not be in service for that long. It takes about a day to convert or upfit a bus. We could redeploy the system to a successor bus just as easily. Next one, Rick. The use of renewable natural gas, there is no cost for our customers to use renewable natural gas. Actually, we provide an 18-cent per DGE fueling subsidy to our customers. And that's because the RNG economics, or carbon credits, are also known as the RINs, the economic value is generated where the fuel is being dispensed into the vehicles. And now we've taken out of the hands of the large retailers that are dispensing renewable natural gas and putting the fueling appliance into the hands of the fleet itself. And therefore, there's able to be much greater control and more equitable allocation to the fleet of those RIN economics. And therefore, this structure is essentially paying for a portion of the sustainability program for the fleet just by the use of the system itself. Next one, Rick. In terms of any compromise to the fleet, to logistics, this is a dual fuel, as I described, so that there's no range anxiety. You have enhanced fleet productivity with the natural gas being fueled overnight. It's about a 4-hour fill, and therefore you have the reduction in use of diesel. It's also easily installed. We're not shipping vehicles to conversion service centers or upfitters. We're doing it, the installation right on site, and taking the vehicle out of service for about 24 hours or less, and therefore being the least disruptive as we can to the fleet productivity. And there's no compromise in the performance, functionality, or utility of the vehicle as it relates to range or use or power, given the combined use of renewable natural gas and diesel. And the drivers report back that it's a improved performance, has a little bit more oomph, and gives them more control on the road. And they claim a slightly quieter ride, which with a bus full of kids is always well received. Next one, Rick. Here are some pictures of some of our programs. The snow is Eagle County, Colorado. They started off with a 6-bus pilot program. They're adding 18 additional buses to it. They have a very interesting sort of geographic landscape or topography where they're going from a wide variation of altitude and steep inclines, declines. On the right, you have South Carolina Department of Education. They just finished a 2-bus pilot program. We're talking about and in discussions and pricing out for them their follow-on. They both wanted to see it work and how it fit into their system and their fleet logistics, and now they want to see it scale. And then on the bottom we have Orange County charter school, started off with a 1-bus program, and they converted their entire fleet over to our technology. So very proud of these three sort of, keynote fleets for us. Next one, Rick, please. In terms of who else is using it, you could see it's a kind of a cross between, we're in Minnesota, we're in Colorado, we're in Wyoming. Interestingly, in addition to Eagle County, we're planning on adding Aspen School District, Steamboat Springs School District, Eagle County's Vail, the Vail ski area, and Teton County is Jackson Hole. That this goes to show it's indicative of the hardiness of the technology. And we seem to have some good traction in Wyoming, Colorado, Minnesota, Michigan, and very, very proud of that. Just continue to add to the list of customers. When we go into this, we are going and meeting with the safety officer or safety departments within each region, making sure that we're pre-approved in advance of doing any upgrade, upfitting installations in all of our school district regions. And that, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging, but so far, knock on wood, we've never been declined. We are doing free pilot programs, so we will give the school system a conversion and an appliance for nothing at no cost. If they, after the pilot program, they like it, they want to buy it, and they want to buy more, that's a conversation we want to have. If not, we will take it off and we will return the bus to its original form without any problem. So far, no one's given it back, so that's a good sign. But I don't want to jinx myself with famous last words. And next one, Rick, I think that may be the last one. Yep, that's the last one. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody, and feel free to reach out to us. Rick Price has our contact information, and looking forward to hearing from anybody on this call, including the other vendors.
Yeah, we have your information on the slides, and then with approval to post the slides and everything on the website, so your contacts is on there as well. And to end up our thing is, I'd like to introduce Don Schoens. Don Schoen is with ProGas, who's a propane provider here in Western PA. And Don, if you can maybe just say a few words on how your infrastructure works and what how many school districts you're working with.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Thank you, everybody. I'm Don Schoens from ProGas Incorporated. We've been doing this for since 2012, and we have approximately 32 school districts, combination school district and bus contractors now. The Monarch Student Transportation company in our area, the bus contractor, is the one that's growing the fleet the most right now. So they're taking an aggressive approach to it, which is good. And with the infrastructure, we'll provide the equipment at little cost to the customer. We include the cost of the equipment in the price per gallon, and then you get it back that way on the cost that we have involved in it. The contractors of the school districts would be involved or be responsible for the electric, the ground preparation for the tank, and any vehicle protection needed for the infrastructure there. And that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Let me see. There's nothing in the chat. I'll go ahead and allow folks to open up and ask any questions of any of our presenters there. Anybody wants to ask any questions? Nobody, huh? All right. I guess I'll ask then. We also have our local Bluebird dealer on as well. So if there's any a Bluebird of Pittsburgh, if anybody would like to say anything, would you like to say anything, Jeff or Jennifer from Bluebird of Pittsburgh? just need to unmute yourself.
Yep.
So,
There you are. Can you hear me?
yep, can hear you.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that we're having great success with the propane product, and we feel that the customers that are operating them are really finding the great benefits to it, as Barry Bryan could attest to that. We are always available to take out demos to show people how they will work, and we're happy to promote it, happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I know one thing. I've been involved with Bluebird of Pittsburgh and Dawn from Propane and again Duquesne Light. Duquesne Light's on our board of directors. ProGas is on our board of directors. William Sapone works with Ingivity, and these are all members of PRCC. I think it's great today because we were able to talk about all the different technologies, right, than just one specific technology. So as I always say, it's another tool in the toolbox type thing. So I think we're just approaching. We have about 5 minutes. If anybody wants to say anything different, if not, I'll give you back 5 minutes to that. Anybody else would like to make any comments or ask any questions? Let's see. I got something in the chat here. There's been a clean bus folding assistance available through the joint office for thing. Let's see who sent that in there. Was that David? Hello, David Gelman. How are you, sir?
Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Good.
Just figured I'd throw that one out there. We've been doing that under NREL funding, and it's available to fleets, or at least it has been. There may be questions going forward on funding availability, but it's still worth it for fleets if they're interested in moving toward clean school buses to ask the joint office and NREL about it. Mike Jones, who used to be the Clean City Coordinator for Maryland Clean Cities, is actually the one who runs the program there. But you can reach out to me with questions.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all looking. We're all waiting to see how everything washes out with some of the hold up in funding and all that. But as I said earlier, Clean Cities, we've been doing this. Pittsburgh Cleans for 30 years, Clean Cities in general for 32 years, and I don't think anything has really changed in our direction of what we do. We're all the above, and whatever our stakeholders and our members would like to see. I mean, we're here. We can direct you to just about any somebody, and we can answer questions if they're having problems, or if you're not sure, we can connect you with other folks. I see there's a lot of folks on the call today that can be resources as well. I see Mr. Derek Whaley on here from Roush as well. Been a great partner again with Bluebird, as well as just Roush in general and conversions and things like that. I think that's probably it. I'd like to thank all of our speakers, and especially my good friend Brad Beauchamp, who, like you said, for 2 decades we've known each other there. So thank you all again. If you have, we will be posting the video and the slides on our website in the near future. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.